Hello everyone, Jorge Huertas once again with all of you. Today I'm gonna show you what is and how to use socially responsible design. This video is also available in Spanish. Well, this is a concept that is basically a reflection of consequences. It got the following characteristics. It is a process that takes into account its ecological and social footprint, not only in the final product but in their inputs, production change, service use, in the decline, the suppliers, and of course the waste. Before starting a development, it's very pertinent to ask yourself, is it worth doing the development? What are the effects of this development to the environment? What am I going to do? That is extremely important because nowadays we have a lot of products that have a strong impact in the environment, and that is terrible for all of us and global warming. Social responsible design is used in a transversal way in a project that is being developed with the design thinking methodology. It is focused on everything in the impact it has in the environment, but also on the design thinking principle of user-centered design, because do not create surface development, not shallow developments. And of course, always keep in mind that all actions have a reaction. So social responsible design, it's a concept that is not brand new, but it come strong in the last 20 years because people start realizing that many products or many services, it has a strong impact in our environment. So it's extremely important to keep that in mind. So this concept is basically divided in five parts. The first one is that we need to ask ourselves, why is this important? Why I have to develop this? Because if it's to create more rubbish, it's not necessary. If the development is focused on a real need, it's something important that could be very interesting for develop. But if it's not working any need, it's just for vanity or for fear shallow, is not necessary. So for each one of these five stages, it's very important that you always test and ask yourself if it's necessary and if it's meant to be. The second part is that for every development, especially in products, you need to know the supplies and where they come from, because there are supplies that have a strong impact in the environment, plastics, uh, things related with oil, with things like that, and they have just their development because many times a designer create things and they don't know where they come from. It's extremely important that you educate yourself and know the life cycle of the product or a service. If you don't know what a life cycle is, please go in our channel and watch the video of life cycle, because that is extremely important. You need to be aware or all the process and all the consequences that they got to the environment. Then the production. The production is extremely important because it could have a strong impact in the environment. So you need to know the process to develop your product or your service. You also need to know how much time it will take, because sometimes people believe that designers, they just sketch and say, okay, this is what it's meant to be, and make the render, but they have no idea where the supplies and how is the process to develop all of that. So it's extremely important that you know everything, time, process, and what is the impact to the environment, because you if you know that, you will have a different perspective, and perhaps you don't want to develop that with that kind of a process. Then it comes the benefits. Not everything is bad. The benefits for the economic sector and of course the experience. If you are creating something, you want to sell it, but it has to be focused on a real need. Because if I'm creating something and I'm not creating engage and I'm not improving the life of the people, perhaps I need to be very realistic and understand if what I'm doing is really worth doing it. So it is extremely important to keep that in mind. That is why for each step of the social responsible design, it's extremely important that you test and validate if it's worth doing it. Finally, you need to have a clear knowledge of the impact of your development as the environment and of course as social, because at the end you need to say like, okay, this is safe, it's good for everyone, it's recycled, the life cycle is very good, the process is very good, and of course socially is improving the people's life. But at the end, the idea is that you do this before you create your development. And at the end, you need to answer this question: is it worth doing it? You have to be very realistic and ask yourself if that development that you want to make is worth doing it. If you decided is yes, it means that is social responsible. But if you don't, perhaps you need to change a process or a supply or things like that. It's very important that you keep that in mind. As a conclusion, we can say that at the end of the product or service that is being built with the paradigm of people's life must be improved, it should have the latest harmful impact possible to the environment. That is very important. Social responsible design allows generate reflection before developing any product or service in order to assess its environmental and social impact. This evaluation might allow not to develop due to the impact that it can have. That is very important. If you say like, okay, I'm gonna work with social responsible design, you need to be aware that perhaps when you do this development and this test, you realize that it could have a very harmful impact to the environment. So you decide not to do it. That is a possible scenario. And also you can say like, yeah, okay, you can refine it and you can change it, but it's always very important that you keep that in mind. Thank you so much. I hope this video is a big help for your education. Please follow in our social media. Remember that our Udemy courses are already available. In the link of this video, you can find the description and the link. Remember that every Monday we have a new video in Spanish and every Thursday we have a new video in English. Thank you so much and we'll see you next time.